Here's your host, Darren Windle.
What's up, you fish freaks? Welcome to episode 114 of the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. Special shout out to the sponsor of the show, Dark Horse Tackle, where you can uncover the underground of fishing, those premium under the radar baits from those small batch creators. Check them out at darkhorsetackle.com. The bait of the week, I get a box every month. It's going to be this guy right there. This is the Scourge 2.5. It's going to dive 7 to 9 feet, kind of a rounded square bill. And those hooks are sticky. And so look forward to throwing this, especially as I enter into kind of square bill season. As we head here into October and the fall feed, this thing is going to get munched. I'm excited about that. I'm also excited. Got a couple new channel members this past week. So big shout out to a couple, Ralph 1N, Beth Goodrich. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, supporting my family, supporting this dream. You guys are awesome. All right, folks, I'm excited. Tonight we're going to be talking about saltwater kayak fishing, tides, tactics, and trophy catches with my man, Trevor Powell. How's it going, brother? You're muted. You're not muted.
Now we're not.
Let's try that again. How's it going, brother?
It is going great. It's a little warm out here in Northern California in the garage setup, but loving it, man. We're doing good. We're doing good.
Yeah, I'm not warm at all. It's cold and it rained today, so you're not going to get any sympathy from me for your warm weather in Northern California.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, bro, it's been a while. I saw you at ICAST. And so you were hanging around the Vibe booth, and it was like an amalgamation of a Vibe and Expedition trailers, and you were putting together like a
Bixby was there too.
Bixby was there. You were putting together the giveaway kayak that we gave away at the line cutters party. Before that, we hung out for an entire week. We were at out on Vancouver Island, and you were just smashing. Yep, Sea Otter Lodge right behind me. A little fish beater.
Had to grab it. Yep.
And so, man, I know everyone listening, they might not know Trevor, also known Fish Forge Off-Road, but man, this guy is just a good, solid dude. You're like the epitome of like solid California dude, right? But no, really, like I think at the end of the week, if you needed help, Trevor was the person who would stop whatever he was doing, including fishing, and he would stop and help you out. And so, one of the most knowledgeable guys on the trip when it comes to saltwater fishing, because that's what you do primarily, right?
Correct. Yep. Pretty much, I'm 40 minutes away from the coast. My wife works in Bodega Bay in Northern California. So, head out, have dinner, go fishing, take the kids out, crabbing, fishing. I mean, it's pretty much, I pretty much grew up on that coast. I actually learned some fishing techniques from one of the owners of Lucas Wharf. I used to go out when my mom would go out and take orders for the food industry, and I'd sit on the little back dock and he'd come out and give me little pieces of cut calamari, and I'd sit there as a young teenager just, fishing for perch and jack smelt and be extremely excited about little perch, go home and cook them up. And, so kayak fishing's kind of always been, kind of in my history. And once I found kayak fishing, I mean, just fell in love with it even more. Just more opportunities to get on the water.
I want to get into that in a moment. Got a few things I want to chat about because tonight we're doing a giveaway. However, the giveaway is not going to be super exciting if you live in Northern California. However, if you live around the Michigan area, my man over at Uncle John's Cider Mill, he sent me a bunch of promo packets over here. In these promo packets, he's got t-shirts, he's got stickers, he's got a bunch of tokens because he owns a cider mill. And during October, it's one of those places where like you go and do rides and you do donuts and you do wagon rides and you do pumpkins and all that stuff. Well, he sent me, I'm going to give away one tonight and one next week. He sent me this promotional package I'm going to give away tonight. It includes a t-shirt, $25 gift card. You can use it farm-wide. A family fun card, so it's good for a dozen donuts, 4 medium pumpkins, an entry to the corn maze, 4 train ride tickets, 4 wagon ride tickets, diet cider and donut treats, and all the collections here. Anyways, generous dude. And if on the Mitten in Michigan, he's like right in the middle, like north of Lansing. And so if you live in that area and you're like, hey, I'm interested in that, go ahead and type in cider in the comment section, because I have this giveaway tool and it's going to collect your entries. So if you want to be a part of that and you're like, hey, I actually live near there, or I can make a couple hour drive to enjoy that, write cider in the comment section, and then we'll do a giveaway. And you might be the only person that lives in that area, and you will win tonight. So I will kind of mention it throughout the show. But I don't think, Trevor, you're going to be traveling from Northern California to Central Michigan anytime soon.
Nope. Sounds like a fun trip, though. It's an area I haven't been explored or fished yet. So one of these days, maybe.
Yeah. Marty's over here in the comment section. He sent me some too. I love it. And also, Marty said Trevor's hammer, and I would agree with you, Marty. On that.
Marty impressed me. I mean, I was a little nervous. Just, I'm a saltwater guy. Kind of was told everyone's freshwater. Marty was so nervous out there, but then it's like he handled it. There was one day he was out there for hours, and he left that morning like, I don't know about this. And 5 hours later, 6 foot swell, he's hammering fish. So,
yeah. Well, to be fair, the first day we went out, we were in 10-foot kayaks, and it was like essentially what a large boat wake would be, but all the time, nonstop. Right. And you're probably like, oh, This is like second nature. This is easy. This isn't that bad.
It was calm for me.
Yeah, it was calm. But for freshwater dudes, we're like, bro, I feel like a wake boat is just like circling me right now. But yeah, so I get it. You kind of ease into it. There were new boats, right? When you get into a new boat, you're still trying to figure it out.
Absolutely.
But the good news is no one tipped in the water at all week long. Everyone's in new boats. And that's because everyone, been in kayaks for a long time. But before we get started, I say that we're 10 minutes into the show. Congratulations on your yak off win.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm extremely humbled just to be included in this yak off competition, and for me to pick up as many percentage of votes. I was shocked. So I really appreciate all the support from everyone, sponsors and friends, family. And, I hustled. I tried putting out as much content on my new build as I could, and just trying to get the content out there for people to see. As far as, followers and whatnot, I think I'm one of the smallest in the competition. So just trying to show everyone my platform, my Vibe Hydra, and, kind of what kind of fish I do off of it. So.
No, good job. I'm looking over here, and I got it up on the screen here, and I got it up for. Be honest with you, I have a ulterior motives, so I want to congratulate Trevor with 65% of the vote last week. But also, more importantly,
yes,
it is my week, and I'm going up against Bait and Bougie Jose Cinco, and so I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna start mudslinging starting tomorrow.
Absolutely, man.
We're good. We're gonna have.
Big part of it, right, is getting your build out there, getting everyone to see it and ask questions. And
no, I by mudsling I mean I'm attacking Jose personally. It's nothing to do with my kayak. It speaks for itself. This is me going after Bait and Bougie, and I'm going to have a little fun with Jose, and hopefully he shoots that right back across the bow.
I think he would be open for that. I don't know him personally, but I love his content, and he seems like the perfect cat that would love to kind of have that back and forth. So
yeah. So I'm gonna have some fun with that starting tomorrow. I already put a big old arrow in front of his face today, but I got plans, folks. I got plans. But if you're listening in, I would love your vote, and you can do it for selfish ulterior motives as well. Because one, yes, you can vote for me and not Jose. And two, you can actually win a bunch of stuff. So let's hop over here to the page.
Yes. That's whenever I tell people, it's like, yeah, voting for me is cool, but vote for either one of us. Like, yes, I want your vote, but you can win some amazing thing. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is exactly what you're showing there.
Yeah. So you can vote daily. And not only that, they do this thing where if you like a Facebook page, you get 5 entries. If you or watch this video, you get 25 entries. I did all of them today, and I amalgamated 102 entries to this thing by doing all the, and it's all places I want to like anyways. Go like Malone Trailers. Well, I own a Malone trailer, so yes, of course I want to go like it. Hey, go check out D Hooker. Well, yeah, I own a D Hooker. I want to go, and so You can win a Hoodoo kayak and a $500 gift card. It's one of the prize packages. You can win a Vibe Shearwater 125 and a $500 Yak Attack gift card. It's another prize. And I think this is like the biggest prize.
Yeah.
Malone is giving away a kayak trailer of your choice. So if you guys don't, if you've never seen like Malone's trailers, their high end trailers is like $6,000, right? And I don't think I'm incorrect here because I follow you, Trevor. You just got yourself into a Malone.
Just picked one up last week for the most part. Kind of in the dark back there, but
which one did you get? I have the Ecolike. What do you have?
I picked up the Micro Overland Off-Road trailer.
Oh, the fat tire ones.
Yep, big fat tires on it. It actually, I'm getting a rooftop tent for it here pretty soon. So for me, I like doing a lot of off-road adventures, hence, Fist Forge off-road. So I need to get my kayaks on some remote, backwoods roads, up steep mountains. So the Micro Sport does it. And then it also gives me a place to sleep at night too. So
win-win. I think I need to upgrade my kayak. I need a double kayak trailer. Right now, my Ecolite kind of only fits one. And I need two. And so,
this is it's 150 pounds.
Yeah, I know. It's stupid, right? The beauty is I just bought a new truck, and it's a little 4-banger stick shift. And so it's not going to pull that much. And so having the trailer light is actually important for how I'm going to be doing my fishing. So I'm excited about that. And it's kind of fun. If you're one of those guys who's like, hey, I like to, or girls, let's like hop into your garage and you just like to tinker for hours doing fishing stuff. Like these Mullen trailers that come on like a pallet and you like put them together. And it's kind of like, if you like this music and you have something to drink and a Saturday afternoon and you're just like working on if you like that type of thing, like I do, you're going to like kind of that experience, just wrenching. It was fun. I actually like it. It was fun.
It's simple too. The instructions are great. It's a very simple build. Yeah. You don't get to a point like, wait a second, where's this bolt go? It's, it's a fun, easy build to put together.
100%. So if you haven't voted, literally right now, pull up another screen, go over there. And while you're listening to us talk about saltwater fishing, you can garner up a ton of, you get a vote in. You can vote every day, or you can just start garnering up a ton of entries so you can win as well. It's a win-win, folks. So there we go. Congratulations, Trevor. You are going to be going up against Crystal. Now I had Crystal on the show and her husband on, and so you put two saltwater people up against each other. That should be interesting.
Two West Coast saltwater too. She's up in Canada. I'm down in Northern California, so we kind of target the same species, almost the same kind of waters. So I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of fun. I really I think with this round of the Yakovs having a wide variety of kayaks is pretty amazing. So I think it's a good matchup. I'm really looking forward to it. I already kind of messaged her like, oh, 2 salty kayaks going up. This is awesome.
I love it. A lot of good people in here. You got Paul Glass from Aggressively Average Anglers and Rommel Labrador up against next week. You got Jeff Burlingame, obviously the second half of AAA, against Walton Doyle. You got Justin Floyd, works at Bonafide, against Matt Charette, works at Vibe. You got Chad Gerlich, who we fished with, who's the owner of Hookup Baits, against Chuck Earls, which is a guy just north of me up here on Lake Erie. And, of course, the champion, Jake Suvak, against Luis Delgado. So, man, all kinds of my friends up here. Should be interesting. Should be interesting. I'm probably going to lose. But, hey, you know what? I'm going to give it my college best. We'll see what happens.
No, that's how I felt. Going into it, it was like I told my wife, like it's just like I was super nervous and antsy and kind of like part of me like anxiety, like it's like I almost want to back out of this. Like she's like, no, you're good. Just people want to see your build. There's not a lot of non-paddle or pedal kayaks on the market that people are using. So show what you do. Like be proud of it. And she kind of really has my back a lot. So 15-year marriage, 20 years together, like she really has my back. So I couldn't do this competition and where I'm at today without her. So
let's be honest, the majority of us here would not be where we're at if our significant others didn't pave the way or really fill in a giant gap, because what we do requires us to be away often. A lot of hours, right?
Agreed.
A lot of hours. If you're not in the water, you're down in front of the editing computer and all that jazz. But man, So that's fun. Head over to Yakov, win some stuff, and let's go ahead and shift over to saltwater kayak fishing, tides, tactics, and trophy catches. And bro, you were catching some donks up in Vancouver Island, and every once in a while I'll get a photo, and I follow you on the socials, so I know you're picking up freaking barn doors of halibuts and stuff like that. So, walk us through. Tell us a little bit about for listeners who do not know you yet. How'd you get into kayak fishing? Eventually start chasing salmon and halibut and lingcod from the kayak. We kind of got there a little bit, but you've really you're pretty good. You're pretty dang good.
Thank you. No, and I'm only getting better every day, every trip. We always learn more. The more people I talk to, the more you learn. I think as a fisherman, when you stop learning, is kind of when you need every techniques, right? It's always something new, different waters, techniques. I mean, it's something. So I always appreciate a little insight from anybody. But what kind of got me into kayak fishing is just Northern California rock fishing off the coast isn't the easiest thing. You're hiking down steep terrain, bringing ropes with you, things like that.
Oh, really?
One of my favorite areas, me and my buddy, John Gibson, used to go out fishing off the rocks in high school. Basically got turned into a marine protected area, and you couldn't fish there anymore. So I kind of lost some areas of fish. Good and bad. Yeah, I'm all for conservation, of course. But for a guy sitting on a cliff that's maybe catching 3 or 4 fish and the 5 or 6 times he's going out, is it really making a difference? But being on a kayak, you can actually get to some of these areas fishing. So I had a neighbor who had kayaks, just the old school wilderness systems, tarpon, sit on top kayaks, ocean kayaks, just good, stable platform, and went out one of the first times out, and I hooked into a lingcod. And as you've experienced, that rush, and I lost it. First fish I lost. He came up to the surface. He looked at me and made a run straight down, broke me completely off. I got seasick after that. It turned into,
You're heartbroken.
A heartbroken trip. But I was hooked from that point. I mean, it was, that got me hooked, and it's like, all right, what do I need to do this? And went to Walmart and bought a cheap little Walmart, like a catfish rod, a salt setup, and started doing it like that. And it wasn't until I moved back to California. Actually, me and my family, my young family at the time, moved to Maine. I took a job opportunity out in Maine, and then I started, fishing for striper, pollock off the rocks, things like that. We got a little boat, started taking that out, and in the bays and stuff, and moved back to California. And it's like, hey, people are going on kayaks for Dungeness crab out of Doran Beach. Really? I'm out here with the crab snare. That looks kind of fun. So I bought a Promar ambush trap, threw it on the front of my kayak, and launched from the beach. And 20 yards off the beach, I dropped the trap and waited half an hour, picked it up, and I had 3 Dungeness in it. It's like,
oh wow,
this is amazing.
Half hour, that's it.
Yeah. So
I thought you had to let those soak a little longer.
So there's a couple different types of traps that we use, or pots, whatever you want to call them. Right now in California, there's what they call a trap, right? Which is the cage that has a little door that they go through. Those you can soak for a fairly long time, overnight, things like that. But a lot of the times, the regulation, the fishing for that is closed because ropes in the water, long soak time, more prone to potential whale entanglements, turtle entanglements. So they shut that season down a lot. So they only allow
you never know when they're going to shut it down then.
Correct. But the ambush style, the big cones with the opening on the top, those are usually open more often than the traps are. So at that point, it's like, all right, you can use the ones that are open pretty much during the season where the other ones are closed.
One more effective than the other. Is that why?
One you can only soak for 2 hours.
Okay.
So the cone style, the pot style, you can only soak for 2 hours, whereas the other ones you can soak, I believe it's for 2 days or a day. You can soak them overnight, kind of a thing. So
It's fascinating to me. I live in Ohio, folks. Like this isn't.
yeah, it's a really weird thing. I'm all for conservation. I just think sometimes it's really kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
How they
No,
put some of those laws into place. So
I think it'd be a ton of fun to be like, hey, I'm going to go drop this pot, and then I'm going to go over here and fish this spot, and then I'm going to turn around and go pick up the pot, and I'm going to go home, and maybe I'll get lucky, or you may have a little. I'll drop 2 pots, and then I come back and pick them up. That sounds fun to me. You're like, okay, I'm catching when I'm catching.
Come out here in a month. Let's do it.
Oh, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yep. So literally, I'll throw 3 or 4 pots on the front of my kayak, preloaded with bait. I have little buoys that I'll throw in my rod holders. I'll drop those down, go out rock fishing, and it's close enough to where I can find a nice channel of sand where I'm going to drop my pots, and then I'll go over and find a nice little reef and fish for half an hour or up to 2 hours, and then head back, check my pots, and they have limited rockfish and a couple lingcod and Dungeness crab, and go home, have dinner.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So
it's like the blast.
you can't beat that, and that's kind of why I'm such a big saltwater fisherman. Is every day I'm going out, and I'm most likely going to bring home dinner for myself. And if I catch a couple big fish, I'm sharing that with friends, family, coworkers. I always hate putting fresh fish in the freezer, so chances are, if you're close by me and you see me catch a big halibut, send me a message and I'll bring you some dinner.
I'm surprised you don't have more friends than you need right now with some of those that you're bringing home. See the donkey, salmon, coho, halibut, lingcod. Lingcod now that is one delicious fish.
Yes.
Like better than salmon. Like buttery, delicious.
I love salmon, but salmon for me, like a couple of times a year, it's really rich. Smoked salmon I love. A little cracker. I love smoked salmon, but I can't eat it once a week. Whereas lingcod, halibut, I can eat that once a week easy. Fish and chips, or butter sauteed, or now I'm hungry.
Yeah, right. Oh man. So walk us through your current kayak, your saltwater, open water. I want to know like what you got on it. I want you to know like what's essential for literally handling saltwater conditions. We'll talk a little bit about safety, because for someone who like fishes freshwater, and for someone who went up to Canada and start fishing saltwater, a little outside of my element, because of you got some pretty crazy tides and waves and motors, and it was interesting. Let's put it that way. So walk us through what you got, why you got it, and have you evolved over in different kayaks over the years?
Yeah. So like I said, I started off with the Wilderness Systems, a Tarpon 120, just a 12-foot basic paddle kayak. And I loved it. I'd be on the water for, out here, you're only on the water for like 4 hours before the, tide change, or it starts getting dark at night. And I had no issue with it. Big fish, everything like that. But then, I think like 8-9 years ago now, I had my first lower back surgery. And just could not sit in one of those hard plastic kayaks anymore. Started seeing, the first kind of like pedal kayaks come out, just as the original Hobie, I think, is kind of the first one that came out with the pedal kayak, and started following along with those and just seeing how awesome they looked. But I couldn't justify the price tag, right? I mean, it's just, hey, honey, I'm going to go spend, I think the first ones came out, they're like $5,000 or something like that. And I just couldn't do it. And I had a really good friend, Travis, who ended up buying a Vibe Shearwater 125.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much half the price of the Hobie, and pretty much had all of the same features, plus a couple extra little features that I really liked. And went out fishing with him, and I kicked him off of his, and I got on it, and it was just like, this is awesome. I can stand up on this thing. I can stretch on the ocean, which is a weird thing to,
You're a tall dude.
Yeah, 6'6", or used to be 6'2". I'm 6'1" now. 175.
It's that back surgery. They took out a disc. There you go.
Yep, I can stand on that thing. I can stretch if I wanted to. I can do a handstand if I wanted to. I mean, it's a stable platform. The seat moves to like 6 different positions. So it's like, all right, got my first Vibe Hydra. And from that point on, it's just like, it's go time. Like, I was so much more comfortable. Got the pedal drive, and you're just cruising. I mean, for anyone who's gone from a paddle, sitting there paddling to a pedals, it's just huge difference.
Yeah, it's
huge
stupid.
difference.
And that's a boat that's designed to cut through water, correct? The
Shearwater is pretty good. It's got a nice, good V hole in the front, but it is a shallow bottom. So you end up, on some swells, it tends to kind of push you a little bit. It's very similar to, those first kind of Hobies that came out. So that's actually why I just picked up my newest kayak, which is the Vibe Hydra 130, which is what I'm using in the Yak Offs. That's a strictly paddle kayak. So I'm going back to like the original style.
But you're motoring that bad boy, aren't you?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I got a Bixby on the back of that thing. And I mean, that thing flies on the water. With the Bixby, I'm going, 4 miles an hour easy on that thing. Yep. But what's interesting is just paddling. If you get into a good rhythm paddling, you look down, you're going over 4 miles an hour with arm paddle. So it's 29 inches wide. It cuts through the surf.
It cuts 29. That is narrow.
It's narrow. But for instance, just went out salmon fishing, and I launched from an area called Bolinas, which can end up having some, swells, some waves that come crashing into the beach where you're surf launching from.
Yep.
So I've surf launched the Hydra, the Shearwater before. I've gotten good luck with it, but I also got, completely turned sideways in the Shearwater to where I was completely leaning over with the paddle, trying to hold myself. And I surfed sideways and ended up landing. But at that point, I was really nervous about anything bigger than like a 2 or 3 foot swell, coming in. So this last trip on the Hydra, I had probably a 4 or 5 foot wave come behind me. And I looked back and was like, all right, prepare for it. And put my paddle down. And I think the whole front third of my kayak was out of the water. And I surfed in. It felt so great. I felt like a rock star. It was really fun. I jumped out of my kayak and started kind of running up the beach, holding it. At the time, I was wearing a wetsuit with shorts on the top.
Okay.
And I didn't realize my shorts weren't buckled. So I started like, yeah, I'm cool. I got this. Started running up the beach, and my shorts fell down. Almost fell on my face. But
you thought you were the man.
Yep.
Everyone looking at you.
Yep. So, that's kind of why I got the Hydra, is just for those more remote beach launches. Launched that morning, I took a wave that hit me in the chest. So, you sit there, you wait for the swell, you wait and you wait. It's like, all right, this is perfect. It's a good time. The swell has came in, the sets come in, I'm launching. I look down, another 20 yards, there's another kayaker. All right, we both went. Right as we started getting in, I looked up, and it's just, you just see a wave coming straight at you.
Here we go.
It's like, all right, here we go. And you just,
crash through it.
You kind of put your pedal forward, just kind of wait for it. And bam, my front went straight through. My OPA bag went under the water. The wave came all the way and basically hit me straight in the chest. Popped straight up. Oh, my light was straight out. Hit me straight in the chest. Like, looked, all my gear was all tied down and good, paddled through it, dropped the Bixby, and went about my business. And
how about the other guy 20 feet down?
He made it through. He was back behind me, but he had a pedaled kayak. So, it's a lot more gear you have to tie down and hopefully not lose. And it's that much more weight. I'm probably a good 50, 60 pounds lighter than some of those other kayaks that are out there. So,
right. So surf launches.
takes,
You ever had a yard sale?
I have not had a yard sale yet. Unfortunately, that day, my kayak partner, who I launched with in the morning, who I launched a little bit earlier than me, was on a Shearwater 125.
Is that Trevor Wagner in the comment section right now? Is that him?
It might have been, yeah.
Okay.
That's
you
too
talked
funny.
about him early on, and he's in the comment section right now. So I was wondering if that's who you're talking about.
But yeah, my buddy Adam ended up having a yard sale, and I left. I had to leave. I had a truck appointment to get to, so he was still out chasing salmon. And I radioed him like, "Hey man, I'm going in. You gonna be good?" "Yeah, I'm good." There's another 20 kayakers out there still, and 200 boats. And it was 10 o'clock. It was still early.
Yeah.
And I called him later, like, "How'd you do, man?" He's like, "I didn't do good. I had a yard sale. My kayak got sideways on me. He jumped off before kayak rolls on you.
Right.
It flipped,
and then grinds you into the sand. Yeah.
Yep. He flipped, but everything was tied down. So he didn't lose anything. Everything flipped and rolled, and he was basically able to roll his kayak back over, grab everything before it, washed away. And yeah, it's just part of ocean kayaking.
Ocean kayaking. Heck yeah. I love it. I love it.
So
you got your Hydra. Are you one of those guys that like you sell your old one, you keep it around as like a buddy kayak?
No, it's my Shearwater always is going to stay with me. I mean, I love that thing.
You're a collector then.
Yeah, and then of course with the two young boys, I have a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old boy. So they're slowly getting new kayaks as they get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Henry, my youngest, has one of those, super short Walmart specials, you can kind of dolphin in the back or whatever. And so my 13-year-old's getting bigger, so it's about time to get him a Makana or something. So
oh man, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm to the point now where I got kayaks coming, and I'm trying to sell my Native Slayer Propel 10, and that's on Marketplace. I need to make room for. I believe I'm getting an Old Town. I'm trying to ascertain also a RVR, and there's a couple others that companies chatter. We'll see if they actually follow through with what they say. I gotta find some. I don't have a lot of room at the old house, and winter is coming, and so I gotta pull my truck in so it doesn't get roached from all the salt and water and all the cold and snow and all that crap we get here in Ohio. But man,
so are you looking at a Flux Jet too, or?
They did tell me at one point they wanted to send me one. I don't know. Maybe it's the fundraiser in me, because I've had people my entire professional career have great intentions and sometimes follow through and sometimes don't. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll get one sometime. I'd like to get inside of a Flux Jet. I just don't know if it will happen. It might happen. Who knows? I don't get my hopes high until it shows up on my front door, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So you got your do you have to do anything special for like your kayak being at saltwater? Do you like wash down your motor every single time, or is your Bixby like, okay.
Yep. So you get off the water, and if you can, some boat ramps, have a hose, some have a spigot. I have a rinse kit, or I also have a water port. So I
try to sell that. It's like a battery powered one. Was that you?
Little battery powered. Yep, little battery powered rinse kit, which is really nice. You can kind of tote it around with you, 3.5 gallons. So it's just enough to kind of get a quick rinse off of the main salt, your electronics, especially. The electronics is a tricky one. I mean, you coat it in, dielectric grease, you go out, you fish, and then you spray it off when you get back. And you go back out, you coat it, you spray it. So you got to kind of always repeat that.
It's a constant battle, man.
Yes. I mean, the corrosion is horrible. Now, you don't really need to rinse your kayak as much. I mean, it's plastic. The salt can build up on it. It's not horrible, but it's definitely a good thing to do. The one thing I made the mistake about as a young saltwater kayaker is I was roof topping my kayak every time.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize it, but salt's dripping on my roof now, and I ended up rusting out the top of my roof.
Oh, wow.
So 2 years ago, I had to have the whole front like inch and a half right above the windshield basically bondoed, like redone, because I went to leave for work one morning, went and drive, and literally it's like someone put like 3 cups of water right into my lap because there
Wow.
was a hole. It was so bad. There was a hole in the roof that had basically filled a little area. And when I moved, sheet of water came down. It was
We do the
awesome.
same thing. We just do it from the underside here in Northeast
Yep.
Ohio. It just roaches everything. I'd rather have the roof where I can bondo it than my frame crack in half. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
no, living in Maine, yeah, it was like I was looking at, a truck that was the same year as mine in 2008. And it's like, how is your frame rusted already?
Yeah.
And when I was there, I actually got my whole cab picked up, my whole frame coated, and then the cab and tailgate put back on. It was recommended to me, so it's and then they do vehicle inspections, which we don't do here in California.
Which is
They're looking
surprised
at
because I figured if any state would have vehicle inspections, it would be California.
yes,
They'd have like
they want their
upholstery
money, right?
inspections and gas inspections. Like I need to
Yep,
inspect your tire inspections and then
yep.
muffler inspections. I'm surprised they don't charge you 17 different ways.
Just the smog, that's it. But yeah, I kind of like that. They're checking at your lights, looking at your frame, looking at all that fun stuff. But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
The kayak captain over here, rinse kit is awesome for saltwater days. Also great for hurricane showers.
Yeah. No, and it's a black little box. You put that thing in the sun. Next thing you know, you have a little warm shower, rinse off real quick. And I actually just won
camping.
it in a raffle. Was down
you
in
did?
Monterey. Yeah, Monterey Bay does a kayak. Monterey Bay Kayaks does an awesome kayak tournament that supports fishing with kids, fishing with veterans, things like that. And one of the raffle prizes was a rinse kit. So it's like,
Nice.
I'm putting tickets in that. And sure enough, I won it. Got to give a shout out to my kayak partner. He usually wins every single raffle prize. He's just that guy, right? That goes. He's like, it's going to charity. Here's a couple $100 worth, of tickets, and then he'll end up winning like 4 or 5 different items, and people will get mad at him and stuff. And it's like, look, he put money into a raffle for charity. He's winning. Like, it's not his fault. Like, he's donating. Whatever it is.
You could have showed up. You could have showed up. You could have ponied up, folks. Don't be.
So this year
hating.
This year he got some hate last year, so he didn't put as much money into the pot this year.
It to you to give to him.
But then he let me use his lucky pen, and I used that lucky pen, and I won 2 raffle prizes. So.
Lucky pen.
The rinse kit is what he really wanted. So, hey, what's up, Cameron?
You got Josh Latimer. What's up, my man? Cameron Smith. What's up, Trevor? Love it. All right, let's get a little tactical here, right? Talked about the tides. Let's talk about the tactics and the trophy catches. And you mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show about lingcod and your first lingcod. It came up.
Yes.
It saw you, and after fishing for him for an entire week, the second they see you, you got about a second to net those things because they're going right back down, and there's a lot of power.
That's when you have a ling, right? Is you start getting them up, and then they just make that run on you, and there ain't nothing like that feeling in my mind. But yeah,
there's nothing like fishing in the ocean, because when I went out with you guys, like when you hooked up, you just don't know what you're gonna like. Here in Ohio, I'm pulling up a bass or I'm pulling up a catfish. That's it, right? If it has any weight or size to it, it's a bass or a catfish, and maybe a striper in some lakes, and maybe a walleye in other lakes. But it's a bass or a catfish, and you usually tell within a second. Here, you're like, I have no clue. It feels like a cabezon, lingcod. Could be who freaking knows?
20 and plus species of rockfish.
Yeah, so many different rockfish. It's just like oh my gosh, it's a ton of fun, and just big, huge pulls, and oh my goodness, it was a blast when I went out there. I instantly fell in love, and I understand why those who kayak fish saltwater do so. because it is a
Yes.
freaking blast. So if you get a chance
Yep.
to do it, and I've been like deep sea fishing before. No. There's nothing like pulling up a donk from a kayak and it starts spinning you around. My gosh.
Yeah. Agreed. Don't lip them.
No, don't let those mothers. It was good. I think I caught a 37 when I was up there. You
Nice.
measured it, so you were my measuring tape. It was a 37 incher, and I guess 40 inches is like the trophy. For me, a 37 was freaking a donk.
Yep.
Like a donk.
No, that was my goal, was to try to catch a 40-inch lingcod up there, and
yeah,
I didn't quite get it, but it was, I mean, it was just like, oh look, another 33. Oh look, another 34-inch lingcod. Like, we're out here, you know, I mean, it's like you get into the 30 size and you're pretty stoked. I mean, you know,
oh really?
We get some nice ones out here, but where we were fishing up there, it was more like fishing in the aquarium. I mean, it was just like rock pile after rock pile was holding huge rockfish, just giant lings, big cabezon. Like, I broke my cabbie limit by over a foot. Like, my size of the personal best. Yeah, it was like, you know, 18-inch cabbie. Like, yeah, this is awesome. I just caught a 20. I mean, I caught a 28-inch cabezon out there.
They were monsters.
Like, it felt like a 45, 46-inch lingcod. Like, it was,
because there's
you know, 20 feet off the rocks. Like,
yeah, and there's something about a cabezon. I've caught, I think I have 4 when I was up there. When I first got a hold of it, you're like, boom, oh, I got a lingcod, and you just keep pulling. And it's like, what? I got a log. Weight. I feel like I literally am pulling up a 30-pound waterlogged log.
Yeah.
And then you get that thing up. And I remember the first one I caught. I'm like, yeah, what is this? What did I catch? I didn't even know they existed until someone, I think maybe you yelled out, that's a cabezon. I was like, so wait, it's a cabezon. What's a cabezon?
Yep. And what they do is they have giant wings that they open up, these giant wings, and then they open up their giant mouth, so it's just like you're pulling up, like Marty said, a giant parachute, like a you know, backwards umbrella. Like, it's just, and then a lot of times they get you in the rocks and open up their wings and just
pull them out.
No, I mean, I've sat there sometimes. I've had buddies that will sit there for 10 minutes, let the line go slack, kind of like give them the old
then get them out of there
real quick and try to get them out of that hole. Or a lot of fun.
Yeah, I got squirrel fishing over here. Man, that sounds amazing. On my bucket list. It should be, squirrel. It should be. Sea Otter Lodge. It really was incredible. And so not only that, So essentially, what we did, and what I did, I was up there with another guy, Chad Gerlich. He's the owner of Hookup Baits.
Yep. I got you.
These baits right there. That thing right there. It's like a 6-inch or 8-inch. We were throwing that for lingcod. You basically throw it down, and I can't tell you how many bites I got.
So this is my actual bait from Sea Otter Lodge.
All right.
It's going into, like, I got to make a box with it, but I mean, I don't know how much you can see this.
Oh, you can see it.
It's
been chewed.
Destroyed. Like, I brought this home because I think I caught probably 5 30+ inch lingcod on this one bait. I mean, it was just like, but then at the same time, I switched to the Madame lures, more of like a big swim bait.
Yep.
And this is everything I hit all my cabezon on. I mean, I caught, 5 cabezon over 25 inches on this thing. And it was just like, and a couple giant ling. It was just out there, everything you were throwing, it was just getting hammered.
It was fun.
Hammering them.
And so I think what was the key for at least me, I didn't have Navionics. This is kind of like a new Navionics world for me, but Chad had it. And so you'd have this thing hooked up on his phone. And we was really just went around we're out in the middle of not in the middle of the ocean, but on like all these inlets and big lakes. And we were out in the ocean a little bit. And if you didn't know where those rock piles are, you're kind of just guessing, right? Or just kind of trolling. Yep. And so he would just take us around to all these pilings. And we just, everywhere Chad threw, I just threw kind of like, hey, are we on it? He's like, we're on it. Let's go. And boom, pop, 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 pop. It was almost all the time.
If you're dropping down and not getting bit, then move.
It was weird. Yeah,
like
it was
you're
weird.
you're not on any structure, move. Like
No.
yeah.
Move 10 feet, 20 feet, whatever it was. And those,
Yep.
I fished 5 days and just fished his baits, hookup baits. I don't think I used hardly anything else. And I tell you what, I caught more fish than I can count.
Yeah.
Those things are done. Now I look forward. He actually just reached out to me. He texted me not too long ago, like last week. He said, "Hey man, I want to send you some baits." I was like, "Great, I want to use them for bass." And I love having like green pumpkin color. I've caught some already, but I kind of ran out because they're weighted. And so can you bring that back up again? And so it's like a soft plastic, however, there's a big old jig head.
Yeah, big jig head in there.
Right there. Yep. And they come in all kinds of like real tiny, like real tiny, like tiny.
They even have trout sizes, right? That's like
super tiny. And
half ounce, I think.
And it was interesting because I was talking to him and I was like, "Hey, you ever fish this?" He's like, "Bro, I gotta be honest with you. I haven't fished another bait, not a single one in the 12 years since I've started hookup baits." And homie's like a champion, right?
Yep. Yeah.
He wins a lot of saltwater kayak
Team
fishing.
USA kayak fishing, saltwater team. Yeah.
Yep.
He's in
Champion.
Italy right now, right?
Oh, is he doing that right now?
Yeah, I believe they're in Italy.
Yeah. So homie can hammer, and all he uses is his baits, and he's a freaking like magician on it.
Which is funny because I figured you'd like this one. So my father-in-law, big fisherman, fished for years, right?
Yep.
This is his favorite bait that he gave me.
A copper pipe?
So it is a copper pipe filled with BBs that he's pinched and punched a hole through in a barb. And
did your father-in-law like grow up during the Depression or something? What's going on?
He hammers giant lingcod on these. Hammers them.
So ridiculous. What am I looking at right now?
Yep, just copper pipe, and it's painted like camo. So there's like green and silver and yellow paint on it.
What's that even look like?
Yep, look. I mean, yeah,
it's a good 5 inches, 6 inches long.
Yep, and got a little rattle action to it. And
no, I see it. It just looks so ridiculous. Have you fished it?
I have not fished it yet because I don't want to lose it.
I could run to the hardware store and make you another one.
I know, but it's more like one of those things. Like it's just, I want to go use it, and I know it's going to hit fish just because I've seen pictures of 30+ inch lingcod that is caught with this thing.
Bro, that is such a YouTube video, like where you go to the store, cut a copper pipe, throw some BBs in it, and a treble hook.
So I mean, people make all kinds of lures for lingcod. Like I know there's a guy, Fisherman's Life. He makes a spoon. It's literally a big silver spoon with a treble hook, like an eating spoon. Me and my captain, we've used gummy worms for bait, gummy bears for bait. You're catching rockfish. Like one of my good friends, I think you saw these, right? Little 50 cal jigs. I've caught some big lingcod on that, and it's just it's like they've never seen a lure before. They are so aggressive. One of my favorite lure companies, Madame Lures, they really like making like the lingcod kind of color. Yeah. So it's like a green ling. They're so territorial. Lingcod sees something that looks like a smaller lingcod, and they're just going to hammer it. I mean, it's just, they're so territorial. They really kind of go after so much. So, it's, another one of my favorites if you're kind of fishing more. Looks like a little baby halibut. Yep. So if you're fishing, a rock pile kind of by a sandy area, you got a little sand dabs in those areas. And those lingcod love sand dabs. So Madame Lures. Sand dab? I don't even know what a sand dab is. Looks like basically a flounder, a small flounder. Okay. Flounder, halibut. What's the other? A sole. Yep. All look same to me. They're all halibut to me, by the way. Flatfish. Yep. All flat. All those flat fishing things. Exactly. So we figured out the lingcod.
We caught
Yes.
a ton of those, so I figured those out. Find rock, find lingcod, super aggressive.
Yep.
Typically,
Yep.
the bigger the bait, the bigger the lingcod. Apparently, the larger diameter of copper pipe, the bigger the lingcod.
What I kept trying to tell all you guys is, oh, you know, you catch a small rockfish, I'd say send it back down. No one, that's the best thing to do is you catch a small rockfish, you leave it on the hook, you send it straight back down, and you take that little guy for a walk. And then all of a sudden, your rod just loads up, and you slowly reel it up. I think Jeff caught his first lingcod like that.
Yeah. Well, some of the biggest lingcods there, where it was a lingcod on a rockfish that was caught, and then they gaffed it.
Yep. That's my favorite way of catching big lings is catch a small rockfish, send it down.
So how do you send it down? So you grab it. Yeah. How do you send it down?
You can either, if it comes and bites the hook, you just leave it hooked. You have usually have an 8 to 12 ounce weight that you're, catching it with, or a jig that you caught it on, and you send it right back down to the bottom with that weight that you have on there. So, and then you wait.
There you go. Walk it along, pop it along the bottom. Pop,
pop. But the trick is so say you're allowed 10 rockfish here in California.
Yeah.
Well, since I just used a rockfish as bait, that goes to my limit.
Oh, you can't like catch another one.
So, So I can't, now catch 10 rockfish and, land with it when I just used one for bait and it's, gone and destroyed.
Yeah. All kinds of rules around that. All kinds of rules, especially if you're in Canada.
So many rules.
They are really particular.
Yep.
And I
5 of these, 3 of those. This kind has to be a certain size. This kind doesn't have to be a certain size. And
your regs. A lot different than freshwater fishing for sure.
Yeah, like a yellow eye rockfish looks like a canary, looks like a vermilion. It's like this one has
one of those
scratchy chin. This one has bumps on the side. This one has a yellow eye. It's just.
You almost got to be like a fish biologist to go fish without getting in trouble.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you ever been like pulled up on by?
Yep.
They call them DNR out there. What do they call them out there?
Fish and wildlife.
Fish and wildlife. Got it. Got it.
Last salmon season, I was rolled up on by the sheriff out there.
The sheriff.
And,
okay.
Yeah, the sheriff was in a boat. It was a short salmon season, so we had the sheriffs out there, the Coast Guard out there, and the fish and wildlife was out there, kind of all patrolling everyone. It was a good interaction with the sheriff. Unfortunately, they didn't know the laws, which was kind of funny. They actually told me to go back in because I didn't have the proper safety gear. I think you saw my walkthrough with safety gear. I'm pretty strict on my own safety.
Yeah, you're pretty. You got that.
They were like, "Hey, you need flares out here for your kayak," and it's like, "No, I don't need flares. It's anything over 16 feet." And they're like, "Nope, it's anything. Anything that's on the water, you need flares. You need to go in. Your day's done." And it's like, "Okay, officer, not a problem. Whatever." Like it was afternoon at that point. I wasn't really getting a bite, so it's like, I'm just gonna go in, and ended up talking with a lot of other kayakers that day that all got told the same thing. And it's like, we all called up the Fish and Wildlife and they're like, no, you don't need flares on your kayak. That's sorry. They told you that information. And
that's, that happens sometimes. That's interesting. Yeah, I know here in Ohio, it's interesting. So when you start motorizing your kayak, then you got like stickers, and then I got stopped because you got to have like a flag. And I was like, when I was having a conversation, like, why do I need a flag? I got a motor. I got a double redundancy in my pedal drive. I got a triple redundancy in my paddle. I got a quadruple redundancy in my phone. And I need a, whatever you call a 5X redundancy with a flag. Like, yep. Like, I was like, all right, I'll buy a stupid flag and shove it deep into my hull, and I'll probably forget about it.
Absolutely.
I'm never going to need it, but we'll see.
Yep.
I'll probably need it. Watch all 5 things go down, and I'll need it. I was like, all right, I got a flag. I guess I can flag someone down in that rare occurrence.
Yeah. No, I just got the Bixby motor recently, and it's like, all right, now I got to go register the kayak as a registered vessel. They want their money.
Yep. How much is your kayak registrations out there in California?
So I just did my Shearwater, which is 5 years old, and it costs $360.
Excuse me? What?
$360
For what?
to register my kayak as a motorized vessel.
Chill out.
No joke.
No way.
And that's on a $2,000 kayak. So whatever percentage of $2,000 they did to get to, $360 or something, it was just
wow.
Yeah,
That is
like, wait, what?
unbelievable.
My truck is $220, so it cost more to register my kayak than it did my truck.
If you're listening in right now, let me know how much it costs to register your kayak. So put your state and put how much it costs to register your kayak. That is, I need to go to ChatGPT real fast. Give me a second. I got to see how much it costs.
Like I said, my truck is up right now, and I want to say it's $220 for my truck. And I bought my truck in 2008 for around $30,000. Yeah.
Okay, I'm asking ChatGPT how much it costs.
32 in Nebraska.
Yeah, 30 in Ohio, less than 16 feet. A motorized kayak is $33.
Yeah,
bro,
so
you're getting robbed.
And so for here, for us, it's based off how much it cost. So it's the same with the vehicle. Yep. So if your vehicle cost $100,000, it's 2.5%, or I don't know, whatever the tax is on that total cost.
So what if what if someone gave it to you? How do they? Then
it's free. It's I actually just did that, and it was like $20. So I should have basically, never lied to the government, right? But if I would have told them, I got a gift for my birthday, then it probably would have been like $15-20.
Your wife should have bought it, and then she should have gifted you for your birthday.
Yeah,
and then
I was not
give you a bill of sale.
Was not expecting that at all. It was just like,
holy crap!
I had just registered my new Malone trailer, and that was $32.
Yeah, simple. That's what it should be.
Simple.
So you got low life over here. Holy crap. Marty Hughes, $32 in Nebraska. C. Todd Skelton, $40 he thinks. Mine's 33. And that is wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
So when you start getting into like Hobies, you got like $6,000 kayaks, PDLs, all this stuff. You're looking at $600.
Probably.
And then you're like a content creator and you get kayaks all the time, right? Then you got oh my gosh, that's out of control.
But then you're getting them for free.
California, you're out of control.
You're getting a free kayak, so you put down gifts, so you're not paying anything. It's going to be like $20 at that point.
California, you are out of control.
Yeah, agreed.
That is wild.
Agreed.
I will let them know. I'm sure they're just going to be torn up about it once they listen to the podcast. All right, walk me over to, we talked about lingcod. Something that we were after all week long was halibut. And I think it's my understanding that halibut don't really live in the rocks. You got to find like the sandy spots. And I don't know. We didn't talk about it a whole much. We thought maybe we would just randomly catch one because we had like 12 people fishing. We thought maybe we'd get one of those suckers.
And honestly, you can catch them on the same stuff. They'll go after swim baits. Out here we'll do swim bait days in the San Francisco Bay for California halibut. San Francisco Bay is a really good halibut fishery. They're getting hammered too bad right now because all of the other fisheries in California are closed. So it's kind of like a free for all.
Traveling.
Everyone's like, hey, salmon's closed, this is closed, that closed, but hey, halibut's open in San Francisco, so let's go catch those one.
So you get this massive like migration to your
20
fisheries.
Charter boats that are over 20 packs a person, small charter boats, individuals that are all coming out for a few months and getting, the charter boats are getting limits for 20 people, 2 at a pop, and it's a lot of fish.
So why wouldn't they shut it down?
Just bad practices. It was kind of funny. We all saw it coming. The captains, the deckhands are like, whoa, they just shut salmon season down. Well, that means the boats that are on this bay and that bay that aren't really anywhere else to fish, they shut down inshore rock fishing too. So it's like, all right, well, all those charter boats need to make money, so they're all going to bring their boats into this area. And sure enough, that's what happened. And the limit was 3 last year at that time. And then halfway through the season, they're like, wow, there's a record number of fish being caught. We should probably lower the limit to 2. Okay. So they're kind of proactive about it. And
still, that's a lot of halibut.
Yes, still a lot of halibut being caught. So, but yeah, same thing with halibut in the San Francisco Bay. The way that we fish for them is we'll usually troll frozen popsicles, frozen herring, frozen anchovy, either just straight bait with like a little bounce ball rig. So you're bouncing, 12 to 16 ounces with like a 4 or 5 foot leader that just has, your bait fish just spinning. Okay. You can put a flasher in front of it. But then there's a couple big live fish places in San Francisco where you can go and get live bait. So then you're just drifting with live bait and hammering them. It's quite the experience to be behind Alcatraz. You're staring at Alcatraz and you're catching, giant halibut.
Oh, really? Right there?
Yep, right there. There's a big hole behind Alcatraz. A lot of boats like going there. And it's my buddy Travis just caught a 42-inch halibut right behind Alcatraz last year.
It's like a barn door. Pulling up a barn door from the bottom.
Not necessarily on kayaks, but on boats and things like that.
So you find do they relate to sand more than they do rock? And obviously,
yes.
I don't know. Yep. I don't know what I don't know. I'm just asking questions.
Yep. So they are 100% a sand predator. So they lay flat on the bottom with their 2 eyes on top, and they just wait for something to swim above them, and then they come up and they'll hammer
fast.
They're fast. They're powerful. It's just one big fin, right? So
yeah,
they
look
got
so weird. It's like a half face.
And well, what's weird is they start young with an eye on both sides, and as they get older, they'll roll one way or the other. So it's really funny. You'll have a halibut with the mouth on one side and the brown side and the white side, but then the other halibut is the mouth's on this side with the brown and the white.
There's no method to that madness.
No method to the madness. There's like sometimes you'll have like a half white and a half brown side or 2 brown sides. It's just really weird. And then you have 4 fillets from a halibut.
What?
So you have the top fillets that have more of the curve shape to them. That's much more thick. 2 fillets. You have the spine down the middle, and then 2 fillets. And then you flip them over, and you have another 2 skinny fillets that run on the backside. So it's a 4
Is there one that's like more delicious than the other?
No. Some people think the top side fillet is better because it's usually thicker.
Yeah.
Has maybe less muscle structure in it, but I can't tell a difference when I cook them into fish and chips or fish tacos or something. It all tastes like delicious halibut to me. So
I love it. All right, a couple things. I'm getting some emails over here. People telling me I voted for you. Don't let me down. So if you haven't done so, if you came in mid-show, head over. The Yak Off is taking place right now. Trevor won last week. I got to follow up with a win this week. Go over there, vote. You can win a ton of prizes. $1,000 gift cards and kayaks are given away. A Malone trailer's worth up to $5,000. And you can do me a solid and vote for me. You can vote every day this week, I think all the way up to Sunday.
Get those votes in Sunday midnight, I think. So
Sunday at midnight. There you go. So
yep.
Also, if you live near Michigan and you want a prize pack, if you came in mid-show, I'm giving away one to Uncle John's Cider Mill. I got like $25 gift cards. If you have a family, this would be great. We got wagon rides, free pumpkin, cider, dozen donuts, all that stuff. Thank you to my man over there. He's Uncle John's right there. See that?
That's awesome.
He is a pretty generous dude. So appreciative of him. All you got to do is write cider in the comment section, but don't do it if you live in California. You have I don't want to ship this to you in Louisiana. And so if you're like, hey, I have family, I'm going to be going to Michigan and central Michigan, just north of Lansing. And go and write cider in the comments, and we'll do a giveaway. Right now, there's a grand total of 0 entries. So that means no one lives in Michigan who's listening in at the moment. But if you are or planning on going, do that, and you have a really good chance of winning. If not, I'm just going to drive my family up there, and we're going to spend a full day. It's only 4 hours away from me, and why not?
That sounds good.
Road trip.
Also, Marty, and I know Keith mentioned this to me too, this week with the Yak Offs, Deeper is sponsoring it.
What?
So there's a week winner. So, instead of having to wait till the contest ends in December, someone will go home with a Deeper sonar unit this week.
What?
So
come on now. I need to add that in there.
Shot that up. Yeah. It's kind of a nice little feature.
And over there, you can literally rack up. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. That was an hour and 8 minutes ago. But you can rack up a ton of entries by liking Facebook pages and YouTube channels like Malone and D Hooker and all their sponsors. And by doing so, you can just increase your chances of winning. I think I have 102 entries by doing all the things today. And so enter in every day. Would love your vote. I've got to beat Bait and Bougie. Got to do it.
I got to tell you, man, don't forget to vote for yourself.
So, I voted for myself.
I forgot a couple of days. It was like, I forgot to vote for myself today. Like, oh no, what if you lose by one vote?
Dang it, that one day.
But then
we'll see.
Also, I wanted to vote for Cam too because I really liked his setup and I liked his videos. It's kind of, it's like, yeah.
You that sounds like something Trevor would say. You're such a good dude. You're like, I want to vote for the other guy because I like his setup. But you're the guy who also loses by 1 at the end of the week, and it's the vote you gave him.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Marty says it's a $300 value. I'm actually going to be on Marty Kayak Jack's podcast tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern. And I'm going to be on with Bait and Bougie. And we're going to be just have a little brouhaha. We'll have a good time talking about our rigs. So it'll be a good time. We'll have fun.
Did Marty really lose by 4 votes?
Marty, you lost by 4 votes? Marty, I want to know this. Did you vote for yourself? That's what I need to know. 4 votes. I always wonder, and I doubt they'll disclose this, but how many votes they actually get because they only share it by percentage.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious. I'm really curious.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know my week I got 65. The week before Crystal got 60. But it's like how many votes? It's really interesting, and it's kind of humbling too for me. It was a weird thing to kind of go out and be like, so I'm in this competition, vote for me kind of a thing. I feel really kind of weird asking that, but it was pretty cool experience to kind of break my fishing kayak down and really emphasize on safety. That's a big thing for me is safety. I've rescued too many people out there on the water to not push the safety side of things.
And I'm excited that you say that. If any of you guys listen to the podcast, you know that I'm working on a kayak fishing advanced safety course with Chad Hoover, and I'm editing. I literally shot the videos last week. I'm editing this week. So is he, and we're going to have that basic certification coming out. But as we get the basic and advanced coming out, we're going to do specialized modules on coastal and specialized modules on river because they're so unique, and there's so much more to think about when you're out there in the open ocean.
Yep.
And when you're fishing rivers. And so we want to partner with some experts in the field who do that really well and really just make safety and normalize it. Right.
It's super random, but fire safety on the water. I was talking, in the podcast with Marty about that, and a buddy of mine hit me up. He's like, you need to check out this product. They're not Coast Guard approved, but he's like, it would be the best thing for you to carry on your kayak if you're worried about fires. It basically is the size of a flare, roadside's flare, and it kind of operates the same way, but it's a fire extinguisher flare, if you will. It's called Element Fire, I believe. Not sponsored or anything, but it's basically the size of a flare, and you throw that in your, Yak Attack Black Pack, and you potentially have a full size fire extinguisher. Like I'm going to put one in my off-road. I have a fire extinguisher in my truck, but having a couple of fire extinguisher flares. Like it was just kind of a cool thing. And you kind of like, you should check out this product. And it's like, oh man, that looks awesome. And with the amount of batteries that some of these kayaks are starting to carry. And, I think that's really something to start thinking about is,
well, I think it's important because there's so much DIY work out there being done when it comes to fusing and wiring and improper wiring and batteries and all that stuff you got to think about. Check this video out. Just got it from my buddy. Asked if I can use it. So check this out. Oh, let me get the glare off. Okay, so this is his kayak. Look into the background where his motor is. Might be a little fuzzy.
Oh,
yep. That's a kayak fire.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's
scary. And here's the thing. I believe, because I've been in conversation with Chad and a lot of people, the kayak fires happen more often than you think. People just they're just embarrassed to talk about them. Right. And and I have a feeling, and trust me, once we get this KFast up and going, I'm going to have story after story after story after video after story to be able to share with people.
I'd agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to share them. We're going to share them all because I'm going to ask people, hey, can we share these? Because people won't share them now because it's like, okay, I did something stupid. But they will share them if say, hey, I did something stupid, but go over to KFast and get certified so you don't do the same stupid thing that I did. Right.
Check that. Let's see if you can even see that.
There it is. There it is. Element. All right.
Right.
Interesting.
So like I've not used one or anything, like that. If I'm going to buy one, I'll probably buy two of them and pop one and see what it actually does. Because, right, like we all know what a fire extinguisher does. I've taken fire extinguisher safety with work and actually get to blow one and use it. But to emergency on your kayak, let's say you're in the middle of the lake and a fire starts, you be able to put that out real quick is crucial. I think your buddy was, worst case, he could have jumped off. He was on the bank pretty quick, but let's say you're fishing.
You jump off, you're fishing 40-degree water. There's so many different things, right?
You're in Florida, it's
there's jump in with the 5 gators I just passed in nesting season, 100%.
Exactly.
100%.
So
squirrel fishing.
Maybe one of those products or something like that you add to your KFast. That's something I'm really interested in. So when you get that set up, let me know because
will do.
I'm signing up quick. That's 100%. For sure. It's just kind of.
It's good. It's got to be something where we want to provide the opportunity for people to earn as well. So we're going to have a pretty sick affiliate because we want to grow. We want it to be scalable, and so we want people to be excited about it and not. Just want to standardize it. It's just, the sport has grown so fast. Yeah. And there's a lot of misunderstanding out there when it comes to weight capacities, and there's for good reason because every company calculates it in a different way, and it's confusing. And so we really want to dial this in, show people how to get back in their kayak, talk about wildlife, talk about overestimating abilities, talk about all kinds of different rules. They can help you be safer out there in water. Come home to your family, and 2, just not dump your gear and lose thousands of dollars. And so,
absolutely,
we're gonna normalize this bad boy. It's coming soon. All right, we had the creek crawler is in the house. What'd he say? He said my partner Ryan fishing the KAS Kayak Adventure Series had a small compartment fire on his kayak. Yep, happens. Squirrel fishing was going out today. I'm not gonna lie. I was definitely nervous to take my new system out for his first run. 100%.
You know what I just read?
What's that?
Marty did not vote for himself.
He did not. He lost by 4.
And there's 5 days he could have voted for himself. So Marty, if you would have voted for yourself,
you would have won by 1.
You would have won. GoPro, start recording.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So good. So freaking good. All right. We talked about the lingcod. Oh, if you haven't done so yet, we're in this
halibut.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah, hit the like button if you haven't done it. Help us get a little yardage afterwards. So if you're on Instagram or come over to YouTube, hit that like button. It's where this whole conversation. If you're wondering like, hey, where's all this conversation happening? It's happening on YouTube. Get off of Instagram. Come over here to the party. All right. Talk lingcod. We talked halibut. Salmon. That's a whole different game. You're trolling for salmon. So walk us through how you do that. Time of the year. Do they run? Where do they run?
So the last couple of years, it's been closed.
Completely
completely closed. No salmon fishing at all. So I had my last salmon opportunity kind of right when I started getting bigger into kayaking. I had my Vibe Shearwater, got the downrigger on there, and it's like, all right, I'm going salmon fishing. First day out, popped off the downrigger. It's like, is that a salmon? Like, start pedaling harder, kind of waiting for that, 2 seconds of slack in the downrigger kind of popping off.
Yep.
And I heard a splash. It's like, what the heck was that? And I turned around and just see this torpedo flying through the air. And it was probably a 30-pound salmon. Came crashing
30?
down, and I started reeling, and it spit the hook. It caught my bait at like 60 feet depth is where I was trolling, and it went from 60 feet straight up 10 feet out of the water, like 5 feet out of the water, spit the hook because it's barbless out here, and went about his business. I trolled for another 2 hours, never hooked up, and lost my opportunity, and waited for, I think it was 2 or 3 years before they decided to give us a very small window of salmon.
Yeah.
So earlier this year, they said, hey, 3 days in a couple months ago, I forget exactly, 3 days you have for salmon fishing this year.
3
days this week, 3 days this month, 3 days this month, 3 days this month, and unless you hit the quota for the first day. And for a lot of us, it was like, that's the worst thing you guys can do. Like, you're telling people, hey, here's a fish that is highly sought after. People travel for miles, spend tons of money, go fish for these fish on these 3 days, but don't care about what the weather is.
Yeah.
Like,
it's dangerous. Yeah, push the limits of safety. And
unfortunately, we lost 8 people opening weekend for Dungeness crab this year, because the opening weekend was horrible conditions. Someone drove 4 or 5 hours, spent a whole bunch of money. They're going crab.
Yeah, hell or high water. I'm getting Dungeness crab. Yep.
So we lost it, and I mean, it was heartbreaking. We lost an entire boat. 6 people on one boat, one survivor. A 13-year-old boy was found washed up on the beach, and he survived. Like, slept on the beach overnight, crawled to shore, and it's like, so we're all thinking it's going to be a repeat of a Dungeness opener.
Right.
Luckily, it was beautiful conditions, beautiful weather, so there's really no issues out there. But it was just, we caught our limit in that 3-day period, and then they shut it down for another 3 months. And then we just had 4 days a couple weeks ago of salmon fishing. So it was kind of that same thing. All right, hopefully we have a good weather window. And we did, and got out there on that first day, launched from Bolinas. Within an hour, of fishing, caught my first salmon. I missed a huge one. I mean, I fumbled it hard. Like, it's controlled chaos, I mean, you have a 6-pound ball on a downrigger. Yeah. Your rod is, completely loaded up in your rod holder. And when that salmon hits, it pops off the downrigger. You got to, pedal, or in my case, I have the Bixby. So I put the Bixby in, high speed to keep the hook steady.
Zero Zach line, because you don't have barbs. Yep. You're not past the barb. Right.
Yep. Meanwhile, you're trying to take your rod out of the rod holder, which tends to get pinched in there.
Yeah.
You now have
tons of load on it. Yeah.
Fish, behind you. So I'm sitting there trying to get it out of the rod holder while it's just, I mean, it's thumping, like, compared to my first.
And it's trying to turn your kayak toward it, right?
Trying to turn my kayak. I got the Bixby going in full speed.
Are you trolling 2 rods?
No, just one rod.
You can only do
one rod. So, but then, 5-pound, 6-pound ball, 50 feet below me.
Yeah.
Sitting there trying to get out of the rod holder, and I popped it out, and I basically slipped, and my rod faced straight behind me.
I've created slack.
It was just like,
by the way, a 30-pound salmon is an absolute donkey.
There were so many beautiful salmon caught. My first salmon was 10 pounds. no complaints at all.
Yeah, that's a good one. But that's not
that
30.
was just madness. Like, I'm shocked that I landed that thing. I probably went in like 8 different circles and trying not to crash into any other boats, and then trying to take your giant net as you're holding, in a paddle kayak. So it's just,
You're going on a sleigh ride.
Yep, sleigh ride. You're getting towed around, trying not to have them go underneath you to get slack in the line. Any slack in that fish is usually gone. And salmon are so erratic. It's just, a lingcod kind of goes up and down. Same with the halibut, will kind of run one way or the other. And a salmon just sits there and like kind of like tuna, right? They just go everywhere. It's or a pike or a muskie.
So powerful. So powerful.
Super powerful. So
it's wild. I go salmon. I am familiar with salmon fishing. We got the downriggers, we got the paddles, we got the copper wire. I do it in Lake Michigan. And we're allowed 3 lines per person. So when I go out, we're running like 6 lines. For 3 of us, we'll have literally 9 lines off,
which
one
adds
boat.
a whole nother.
It's a level of complexity. You have to know what you're doing to run that many lines and not get tangled up.
Yes,
but we do it, and man, it's a blast.
Yeah,
I think I caught a 22.
I'll work on a charter boat some weekends.
Oh, there you go.
I haven't done it recently just because I've been with the family. We kind of trained a new greenhorn. I work on a charter boat called Deadliest Cast Fishing. He's like an OG YouTuber from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
And that's actually kind of how I started getting more into content creation and things like that. So went to my first iCast show with Steve from Deadliest Cast Fishing.
When was that?
He started that was, only 4 years ago.
Okay.
I want to say. So that was my first iCast, and kind of just
freaking love iCast.
Tagging along as a deckhand. Steve's he's Team Akuma, Mag Bay Lures, Opa Bags, P-Line. Like he's in so many different areas because he's been in the fishing industry for so long. So it's like, hey, meet my deckhand Trevor. Hey, meet my deckhand Trevor. And he kind of just started introducing me to all these great, amazing companies. And then I kind of slowly started branching off from him and kind of doing, I've always kayak fished, but never really pushed my content as much. So, was kind of told by a couple people, like, we love your stuff, man. We want to see more from you. Like, push it out there. It's like, all right. So that's kind of, why I have more content out there these days. It's kind of
keep it coming. Is it a dream someday for you to do this full time?
It's tricky. It's living in California, having to pay for, medical benefits and things like that. I don't see how I could fish full time and push content.
Not from California.
That's a lot. It's a lot of money. I'm a full-time production manager for a company here for a cable and wire soldering house. Mm-hmm. So I manage 60 employees on 2 shifts. We basically get cable, get connectors, and solder. I'm IPC certified, so I'm a certified trainer for soldering techniques and proper soldering skills.
Oh, check that out. Don't watch some of my videos, my soldering videos. You would die.
So whenever I see a cable harness that comes in, like like the Yak Power stuff came in,
You're
like looking at it, like, man, this is actually really nice assemblies. Like the Naqua stuff, it's like, dang, who does your manufacturing, kind of a thing. So, always kind of looking at that side. But if I could, it'd be pretty fun. People ask why I don't have more YouTube videos, and for me, it's like, well, I can produce a video in a day, which is kind of what it takes. It takes a good day and a half to make a good YouTube video, if not longer, or at least for me.
That's just the editing side, folks, not the shot day.
Yes, or I can spend that weekend fishing, foraging, and off-roading with my family. So,
if you put it like that.
Yeah, one weekend I'll be able to go fishing and get some good footage and some content, and then it's like, all right, the next weekend I want to sit down and do it, but at the same time it's like, all right, let's go camping this weekend, and I'll stay up to midnight during the week and make some videos. So if I had more time, I'd have more content out there. I've kind of started looking for maybe a content creator, someone to kind of help a little bit, push some of that content out for me. But at the same time, I don't really want to spend money on producing content.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things I feel like especially out in California, if you were to find like like 4 or 5 buddies and like go in on a channel where you just like crank or something like that, would make sense for me. Where it's not like, hey, we have no desire, nor is it really possible to do this in California. It would take a very long time to offset your salary in California. It's to come together and just do a what do they call that? Just like a team type deal.
So I'm close actually to creating a West Coast vibe team, a NorCal vibe pro anglers. So funny quick story is one of my best friends right now I met on the water fishing on a kayak. I mean, it's like trying to make friends. I'm 41. At 40 is kind of a hard thing to do. Like I don't really approach people like, hey man, how's it going? Kind of a thing. So I was out fishing, had just bought my Vibe Shearwater 125, was out on the bay, and I look 100 yards in front of me and it's like, that looks like a Shearwater. Like, I'm going to go check this out. Like pull up to him like, hey man, nice Vibe kayak. Like that thing's pretty sweet. When'd you get it? Oh, I just got mine too. Like, I'm just kind of testing it out. I like yours too. Hey, here's my number. Here's the next time you bring it out, give me a call. I might join you. And now he's like one of my closest friends, my kayak partner. We do all the saltwater tournaments together. Whenever I'm on the water, usually he's on the water, barbecues and stuff. Now we go camping together, and it's one of those things that just kind of one of those epic stories that kind of, it's like, damn, that's how you met that guy. Like, that's pretty cool. So my good buddy Adam now are Vibe users, and so we're trying to start producing content together a little bit more.
Yeah, I got to get myself in a Vibe. I got to try one of those out.
I was in the Makana
for a full week.
Yep.
But I'd like to try out. It was a 10-footer. I'd like to try some of their 12 foots, and I like to get the Shearwater.
The Shearwater is. I love my Shearwater, and I beat the, what out of it. It just, I mean, launching on rocks, pulling it down onto, bumpy, rocky conditions. I'm out on the ocean, taking big swells, standing on it. I've taken a swell like a sneaker wave. I was fishing a reef, and all of a sudden a breaker came out of nowhere and just went over my lap. And it was just like, whoa, that was crazy. Like, okay, kept fishing. And but I really trust my Shearwater out there.
Okay.
I feel super comfortable on it. I've tried tipping it. I can stand on like the side rails and it doesn't tip on me. So it's just, as an ocean kayak fisherman, you need to be extremely comfortable on your platform.
100%.
There's a lot of great platforms out there. It's just, I happen to get into a Vibe Shearwater and a Vibe Hydra, and I'm hooked on Vibe at this point. So I love it.
I like it. You were sharing that story about you meeting your best friend out in the water, and you guys, talk about how you both had, and Squirrel Fishing had a little comment here. He said it sounds romantic. Does your wife know about that relationship you have with?
Absolutely. It's definitely a little bromance, that's for sure. But I think we all need that in our lives a little bit, right? Like, be able to get out and just have a buddy that has your back, and you can trust, especially on the ocean conditions. If something happens, you want someone out there who you can trust and has your back. So
the closest I have to a buddy like that, anytime I go in Erie, I don't like go alone. Right. So I had a buddy once, and we went out in Erie, and it can get dicey like it can in the ocean. And so this particular, because I just got done shooting a video about sharing your location, which is key, and not a lot of people do it. And we were out there, and he wasn't feeling good. I think it was a mix of him having like COVID and a mix of the waves we used to fish like lakes here. And so there were some rollers. And so he's like, I don't feel good. I'm going to go in. And then I got this notification. He's like, request my location. And I was like, yeah, sure. Great. And I be honest with you, I didn't think anything of it. And it was like 3 hours later, and I sent him a photo of a fish I caught. I think it was some stupid drum, because that's all it was. That day. And he was like, yeah. And I was telling him where I was at. He's like, yeah, I know where you're at. I've been tracking you all day. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You have my back. I didn't know it, but you were like literally at home with COVID, sitting on the couch, making sure I was all right, seeing where I was. seeing me move around, seeing me catch, So I was like, you know what? We need to normalize and share because there's so many easy ways to do it.
Yes.
To share your location live. And that's part of the basic. That's just one of the many, 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 many things that
travel plans.
Travel plans,
what time are you
float
supposed to be back
plans.
to the dock? If you have
100%.
no cell phone reception, what time should you be checking in at?
Yep.
And if you don't get that check-in, I think it's ice fishing, right? I'm sure do you ice fish out there? I know in Maine,
our
I love
season's like
short.
3 weeks. It's really
Okay,
short if existing at all. So I don't invest a whole lot of money in it.
Same thing, right? Like you're on a remote lake ice fishing, you tell someone where you at, and if you're not back by a certain time, like please come look for me. I mean, it's this easy thing to do. Send someone a text. Hey, I'm launching from this area. I should be back to the dock by this time.
Check this out. I got this watch. It's a Koros watch. So the Koros.
Oh, I saw you post that. I was checking that out. Yeah.
Yeah. So this thing's pretty rad. So whenever you can track kayak fishing activities. So whenever I track a kayak fishing activity, it literally connects to a satellite. And while I'm tracking activity, if I hold this button down for 7 seconds, it'll send a text and an email to whoever I program in there to send a text or an email to. And I did it. And then what it'll do is it'll shoot a text to my wife or whoever it is. And if they open that up and they can see where I hit the SOS, and then they can see exactly where I'm at, right? It'll show that I floated over here. And I told my wife, if I ever hit this button, because I have to hold it down for 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Something is up, like call the Coast Guard and tell them exactly where I'm at because my phone's gone and everything. And the only thing I'm pushing is this. And so I have a few redundancies like that, but the Koros watch has a lot of features. I'm going to be talking about it more in the future, but that alone is a little peace of mind when I'm out on Erie and my buddy, 100%.
That is nice. No, I have a Cobra Marine radio, and it has one of those little flip up red buttons you can push that goes straight to the Coast Guard. You register your device with the Coast Guard, so they get that ping and they go, oh, look, this is Trevor Powell in his 12-foot kayak, and he's at this GPS location.
Yeah.
So usually where I am, it shouldn't take too long, but it's just one of those safety features. Not all marine radios do. The little higher end ones do, but again, it's one of those things like, hey, I got this button I can push just in case. So it's a nice feature to have. You shouldn't ever need it, but when you do, it's nice to have.
I just know once I get KFast up and running with Chad, that we're going to get story after story after story after story of people who've used these things and it saved their life. Or
I got at least 4 stories of saving people myself. I mean, I
look forward to sharing those stories, right? Hey, we got to get you sharing those stories to put it on KFast to get people so that they don't make the same mistakes someone else made. And we can break the chain, right? It's called like Swiss cheese effect. So if you can break one of the chains that cause the Swiss cheese effect, which means like it's usually not one thing that goes wrong, right? It's usually the chain of things that go wrong that could take your life, like 5 things in a row that usually don't come together and happen, but it's a Swiss cheese effect. When you put those 5 pieces of Swiss cheese, there's one tiny little hole you can see all the way through. And it's when all those things come together at the same time, that's when you lose your life. It doesn't happen very often. It's usually so freaking random and so weird. You're like, that's never going to happen to me. But it does happen to regular people. And so it's our hope is to break that chain. Yeah. That's the goal.
No, we just lost a Northern California bass angler a couple months ago. Was found with his PDF on. They're not really sure what happened, but he was on a lake up in the Sierras, kind of by these Sierras where it's colder water. And he checked in the morning, very experienced angler, all the safety gear, great kayak setup. And unfortunately, he didn't go home that day. We don't really know what happened, but if someone like that, can check out an experienced person, you never know what can happen. And, I was actually talking to a couple guys today at a local tackle shop by my house, North Bay Tackle. And we were talking about the auto inflatables and talking about, if you hit your head and you fell in the water, and that auto inflatable went up, there's a good chance it's not going to roll you over. You're going to be floating, but you're still going to be face down.
Yeah.
So, you know, going with a higher rated safety jacket, a life jacket is a good thing to do. It may not be as comfortable or may not look cool, but you're going to go home at the end of the day if something happens.
Yeah. You got Marty Hughes over here. I had to use the D-hooker last weekend. If you guys are unfamiliar with the D-hooker, it is a tool that if you put a hook through your arm, it's a device that helps it come out real easily. I have one of those. Looks like you're going to go grab yours right now. Now, that's the big one. So I've talked to the owner at iCast. I've had some meetings with them as well. They're actually making small ones, like little small ones. The dinger, is that what it's called?
The dink.
The dink. Perfect.
And it's more for like sabikis or trout hooks or flies, you know, those smaller hooks and things where, you know, this one's definitely you know, your bigger size hooks and stuff, but
100%. And Marty said it worked great. So I have one of those. I hope I don't have to use it, but I hook myself like once a year, guaranteed. And it's super rando. It's usually when a fish does something in the last minute and I'm just stupid.
Yep.
And I get reminded very quickly. But nonetheless,
I've done it once. I was bringing in a halibut for a customer, threw it down on the net. Went to get the halibut out of the net. It started flopping like crazy.
Gotcha.
And we used the stinger hook at that point, a little treble stinger, and it just went straight into my finger. I cut it off real quick, went about my business, you know, cut the line, kept, you know, getting the hook off, released the fish, rebaited the line, you know, got them fishing again. The customer's looking at me with a treble hook in my finger. It's like, I got to get you fishing first. Like, don't worry about it. And I ended up doing the, you know, push through. Cut the end off and then backing it out. But that did not feel good. I mean,
I'm sure it didn't.
I know the D-hooker, I don't think works on fingers and, you know, the sensitive areas, but
yeah, you be careful what you pull that out of and
if you're getting it stuck in some, you know, meatier areas, it's huge to use. So it's something I've added now to my safety kit on my kayak. So
yeah, definitely in my black pack for sure.
Yep. Just in case.
Well, brother, it's been an hour and 40 minutes, and just like always talking to you, you're just so easygoing, easy to chat with. It's been a blast. It's fun.
Same, man. Same.
I don't have too many salt life guys on the show. Maybe once every 6 months I bring one on, but I love it because I fall in love with it. And you just never know when you're going to have the opportunity to go out in saltwater, and it's good to be a little bit prepared. But really quick, tell us where everyone can find you on the tubes and Instas and TikToks and Facebooks and YouTubes.
Definitely. So my biggest platform where I'm the most active is Instagram, Fish Forge Off-Road. And then that's linked to my Facebook page, which is just Trevor Powell. I do have a Fish Forge Off-Road account, but 100% usually goes to Trevor Powell. And then on Facebook, I have, you know, a couple videos too, which is Fish Forge Off-Road. So type in Fish Forge Off-Road, you'll find me out here in Northern California. So.
Heck yeah. Well, brother, thank you so much. Good luck in the yak offs. Now, of course, you're going up against me. Yeah. Are we going to go up against each other?
It could be possible.
Oh, we are. Maybe, potentially. We'll see what happens. Could be
possible. Absolutely. I got a big week in November. So you'll start seeing a big push for me here. I got a month of kind of kayak tweaks and hitting the water. So I plan on catching some unique fish, and then also I'm gonna start hitting up some bass fishing. So I've been wanting to do more bass fishing tournaments. I have bass fished a lot in the past, just haven't really been doing a lot of it. So yeah, I got some good buddies out here that do a lot of bass fishing. It's like, you know what, man, let me follow you around and let's have some fun. And I mean, my wife grew up pretty much around Clear Lake, so that's one of the
there you go.
Bass fishing lakes, you know, in Northern California, in the U.S. used to be. So.
So you said you're going to do some unique fishing. You know how you catch unique fish, right?
How's that?
You sneak up on them. Dad joke.
Yeah, do with the dad joke. I love it. That's a good. My kids will not get a kick out of that one, but I will.
Oh yeah,
So
I do it
they
with rabbits and groundhogs. Anytime they bring up an animal, I always say, "Hey, baby, you guys know how to catch unique rabbit, right? Unique up on it."
You know how
Thank
to
you,
catch
squirrel
squirrel,
fishing.
right?
Give me a laugh on that. Appreciate that. Well, folks, thank you so much for listening in. Hope you had a good time. Go over and check out Trevor. And also, if you haven't done so yet, head over to the Yak Offs. Vote for Darren Windle. Clown Jose Cinco a little bit out there on the social medias. If you see him, tell me he doesn't have a chance at all this week. No, it'll be a good time. Hopefully one of you guys win something big after some of your votes.
Yes.
So stack up those entries. But
I'd
we will
love
see.
to hear that.
Yeah. You can fish. You can actually vote all the way through Sunday. So I'd love your vote. Thank you guys so much for listening in. I'll see you next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. You guys have a great week. I'll see you.